TJ All, it's I-45 now. Welcome back to our streamcast of the Santa Fe Chamber of Commerce's Candidates Forum here. Now we are to our final of our night here at DaySpring Church, and it's the mayoral race here where we have two contestants running in the special election for mayor here. Both current city council members as well, should point out there. They are Mayor Pro Tem Bill Pittman and then Fidencio Leija, councilman there. Thank you all both for being here with us here tonight. And let's make sure your mics are working okay. Let's see.
Testing. Okay,
try yours until you get your green on. Should have done that before. There we go. There we go. So let's get right into it here. I told you both this would be the first question we ask on here is, and Junior, sorry, and I hope you're okay with that. I go back and forth with you all the time, Councilman. But let me ask you here right off the bat. It's been a while. There was a search going on for city manager. We had to change, obviously, when Mayor Tabor stepped down in there. But at that point, still not, even a finalist set. Where are we in the search for city manager? But for you, what are you looking for in the next city manager for Santa Fe?
We need someone that's a good fit for our city. And one of the things that I'll say that we agree on is that we're looking for someone to help us through the change and not come in to make change. And that's what we're looking for, someone to help us through the change. And we know that growth is heading our way. We know that there's some leadership changes. So we need to find the right person. And that right person, it's going to take some time to figure out, do they have the experience of that small town feel of our population? We got to know that. We also got to know that they're aware of our limited budget that we currently have. Our general budget is very limited. And then we also got to figure out if they understand the small town feel and local businesses like we have. We have a lot of mom and pop stores locally. We have to know that our local businesses are going to be heard by that city manager. We also need to know that right now we don't have a lot of stuff for our youth. So we need someone to come in and also think about, hey, how do we engage the youth? And then the other piece is that we have citizens that have been here a very long time. We have a lot of families, and the families here in town that have been here for generations and generations, and some of them up to 100 years have been here. So we need to know that they're willing to go and listen to them and know the history of our city, so that way they're making informed decisions on how to move our city forward.
Bill, Councilman Pittman, Mayor Pro Tem Pittman, let me ask you the same thing of what are you looking for in the next city manager for the city?
So that is a good question because we are looking for a city manager that is a good leader. Their job is pretty tough because they have to take this, they have to manage the staff and they have to actually be with the city to move us forward. And one of the things we're having a difficult time with it, people would say, why haven't we found a city manager? Why is it taking so long? Well, the first time when we got Glenn Adams, we used a company called SGR, and we contacted them after then when he had left, and we said, we would like for your help on finding the next person with the same qualifications, same things to help us move. And as you said, Fidencio, exactly right, to help us through the change, because we know that we're changing. So we need someone to help us take us through there, not to change us. We don't want someone to change us. We want someone to take us through that. But SGR came back and said, we can't help you because in the state of Texas, there's 118 city managers cities that are trying to find managers. So it's a difficult situation, but we do need someone that will help us to help do workshops, to do town hall meetings, to where we can get input from the citizens to help us move forward in the direction that we want to go.
You think the local businesses have a hard time hiring people right now, finding employees, city managers too. I didn't realize it was over 100 in there. Let me ask though, with that challenge there, we just saw up the road here, different city, different take on some things, and smaller obviously, but Nassau Bay went outside of the zone of someone who has city experience. They hired Paul McClarty, who was the deputy superintendent of CCISD, and before that, after many years, worked at in the Galveston County, worked for Jim Yarborough's office when he was county judge. Would you be willing to look at a candidate that would have leadership qualities that you want, but also somebody that may not be from, say, a TML member or that works at another city at this point?
Yeah, I would think that we would definitely look at it. We really would like to have someone that has experience. We would like to have someone that has experience in the state of Texas. But, that might not be the case. And so we might have to get someone that has leadership that we think that can help us through those struggles that the city has. But with that leadership could learn. One of the things we, as council, set aside is, I think, $7,000 for our last city manager to be able to do the education, because we all start somewhere. So there may be someone out there that has great leadership, that understands city politics and stuff like that, and been able to help us move forward, that they may need a little bit of experience, and we might be able to help them get it. That's not our first choice, but it might be the choice that we pick because of the people that are out there. We would like to have someone from the state of Texas, and we would like to have someone that has some experience, because we're growing, and we need some help, and we need some help now to help us through these next steps of growth, whatever that might be. And they're also going to help lead us through the comprehensive plan, because they're going to kind of be in charge of making sure that goes through.
Councilman Leija, about that approach of taking a look at outside the box, maybe?
So for me, I have experience as an HR manager hiring people. And so one of the things that we talk about in the human resources field is you want to hire somebody for their soft skills, because you can always build up their hard skills. So we need someone that can come in and understand people and work with people, not to turn down people or be dismissive of their thoughts and ideas. Even if they're right or they're wrong, we need someone that can come in and listen to the community and engage with them. I think the right person for us, if we're going to get creative, I think one of the things that we were looking at is an engineer that wants to break into the city management field. Why? Because we know the growth that's coming our way. We need someone with those credentials of an engineering background. But one of the challenges is that we do know that people that are in the hard skills, like engineering or science, they're sometimes not too much of an extrovert. They're more introverts. So it's a tough challenge, but I think they're out there, and I think this is a little recruiting pitch here, is that if you are an engineer and you're out there and you're looking to break into this field, I think you may be a good candidate for us. Come and talk to us, and I think that would be a good plus for us.
Because you're needing that position filled too right now, correct?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Now, let me just add a little piece,
Sure.
TJ, there's some great bones that we have right now in our city. And as we recruit, those great bones is that we just hired a finance director that is very strong on the number side. Right now, he's our interim city manager. So I think whoever comes in gets to really leverage that talent. We also just hired a city secretary that has an education background, great solid education. He's finishing up a PhD, but he also has a lot of experience working with other cities. So there's some bones there. The other piece is that we need to leverage the talent that sits on that EDC. We have some talented people on there, and we're doing a lot of work already that we can build on.
Did you want to have anything you wanted to add?
No, I mean,
Phil?
we do need to build on that. One of the things he was mentioned that we made our financial officer the acting manager, and he is helping us going through this. He has agreed to work in that position for 6 months to help us get through this time of bringing a city manager in. And one of the things also that we've hired the secretary that he's talking about, he has expertise in writing grants, and also he's actually helping us write the requirements for a city manager and city engineer. So he has the ability to be able to do that so that we can go out on our own and we don't have to wait on the SGRs.
We should point out, Alan Thomas, the city secretary, was at Seabrook, most recently Dickinson before that, and has the experience along those lines. And before Dickinson, by the way, he's the one that came up through the ranks. He was a dispatcher at one point and worked his way up to be city secretary there too.
He's a great
Give him
guy.
a chance, that guy. So let me just, and I'll start with you on this one, Junior, because I asked this question of someone who wants to take a run for office a lot of times, is why you want the position. But in Santa Fe, in many ways, with you two here, you're giving up power. You don't get to vote at a council meeting.
Exactly
you get to run the meetings, and you get to go to ribbon cuttings. I mean, well, unless something really disastrous happens, which has been plenty happen here, where you get to the emergency management side. But why run for mayor when you're on council? Both of y'all have had a lot of input on getting things done. Why take on the challenge to run for mayor?
Mine's pretty easy. This is how I was raised. And so there's a few fields that people run towards something. So our firefighters, they run towards the fire. Our police officers run towards danger. Me as a military man, we run towards the war or whatever is happening for us to be able to assist. I knew that this was the right thing for me to do, to come back to my city, because I lost a younger brother in a fatal car accident in 2008. This was his passion. He wanted to return home to Santa Fe and be involved and be engaged, and he wanted to run for office because he believed that's the right thing to do, is to return home. I'm just picking up where his legacy. So my brother David, this is for him. And so there's a passion behind it, there's a service behind it, there's heart, there's love. But I'm raising my kids here. My in-laws have been here over 100 years. My brothers have been here forever. My parents have been here forever. There's a lot of families here. I'm here to serve. And just as I do in my church, as I do in the community, and I do for veterans, it's just part of me.
Bill, yeah, why go from the rough and tumble of council to the gavel holder at meetings?
I would like to say it was easy. It's not, for me, it wasn't easy, and I'll tell you why. And everybody knows, or most people that know me, that I've served in council for 6 years, and I felt that my time as council was up. And when Mayor Tabor resigned, I just felt the tug that the city needed some help. And during that week, I've got 10, 15 calls a day saying, we really need you to run for mayor. And so my wife and I agreed that we would pray about it and ask God to just kind of direct us in what we should do. And one of the abilities that I have is to bring people together. That is the thing that I'm fairly good at. And so the city, in my opinion, and this is one of the reasons why I decided to do it, is that the city, in my opinion, is fractured by no one's fault. We have the drainage district. We're a little unique too, because most cities, they have their own water district, and the fire is part of the city, and that's not the case in Santa Fe. So we have the water district, it's its own entity. We have the fire department, it's its own entity. The drainage district and so we have these 5 little cities, including the school district, that we're all kind of going in our own direction because there's no one that's bringing us together. And that's what I think that for the next 2 years that I would like to have the opportunity to be able to bring us all together, to work together for the good of Santa Fe, and to where we can be a community that is not as fractured.
I'm going to jump the shark a little bit about this, because this is filling out the term of Mayor Tabor's term that was left 2 years and then to run again. So let me just ask, if you win, will you run for re-election? You first, Bill, and then you, Junior.
If I win and after the 2 years, my intent is not.
Okay. Same for you, Junior.
I would like to add something real quickly. Mr. Pittman said that our city's fractured. I'm going to disagree on that.
Well, let me go. I'll give you a chance to do it. Answer my question first. I'm going to come back and talk, because that's actually, I'm going to do a follow-up on that.
I think if the citizens would like me to continue my service and there's something that I need to finish, I am definitely going to run again. There's no doubt. And that's the reason I'm running today, is because a lot of the hard work that we've already put in, I need to finish out. The stuff that I'm doing in the EDC, the comprehensive plan, all of that needs to finish out. The development of a BRE committee needs to be finished out. So there's a lot of legs that are there already running. I just want to continue making those things happen.
And to get to what you're doing, and you were going to get this first anyway. So let me, Bill brought it up that in many ways there are kind of these multiple interests that have governance over the city. Fire department has its own, emergency services district. Drainage district is separate. Water district is separate. School district, then obviously, and that's common in everyone. But Santa Fe is unique in many ways. And then there are parts of the community that are not in Santa Fe so much, but they're in, they're in the county, money, but Santa Fe PD would go respond to them. But you wanted to address that. But how do you, though, and when you address what he had said, but how do you, though, make sure there's more of a cohesiveness of a Santa Fe in that versus a Santa Fe Water District, City of Santa Fe School District?
It's already started, and we've already started doing the work. And I'll give you a great example. I remember when we first unrestricted and expanded the EDC. I remember a gentleman that's on the drainage district that I invited him to come to one of the meetings for the comprehensive master plan and the engineering firms that were going to come in to pitch and provide the benefits of why we should select them. And he told me, he says, Councilman Leija, I don't support the comprehensive plan. And I said, it's okay. I said, it's okay that you don't support it. I said, but you are a leader of this community, and you've been in this community a very long time. I would like to request for you to be there. And he says, okay, I'll show up. So he shows up to the meeting, and he listens to the presentation, and then the only two of the company's engineering firms came in on the comprehensive plan. They left. Some of the entities were there. And one of the great things is that the drainage district was there, the water district was there, the fire department was there, the police department, the chamber, they were all present. That next morning at 8 o'clock, I received a phone call from the same gentleman, and he tells me, he goes, you know what? That meeting changed my mind. I would like to support the comprehensive master plan. And then a few months later, they were voting as the drainage district to help be part of the comprehensive plan committee in the future. They had it on their agenda. So the work is being done. They want to be involved. They want to have citizen input. I think right now it's just about leadership. It's about proactive leadership. At all of our EDC town hall meetings, we've had 6. All of them had great attendance and great participation from all of the entities. I even had Sheriff Trossas attend one of them. We had, Juicy be part of one. We had Dr. Bott show up to the last one. I mean, so the work is being done, and it's about making sure you have a leader that picks up the phone, calls them and say, hey, will you be there? Because it's important for you to have a voice in how we move the city forward.
And Bill, you had brought it up there as well, but let me on about the the different entities. You used the term fractured. I want to give you a chance to clarify that since Junior brought it up. But also to ask you is that what specifically would you do then to make sure? You've heard what Junior is talking about. What would you do specifically if elected mayor to make sure all those entities are at the table?
So first of all, let me clarify. I did not say that people are not willing, because I do believe everybody is willing, and Fidencio is correct. We need a leader. We need a leader that can bring everybody together, and to do that, there are projects that we need to do together in the city to move us forward. We can't really rely. I mean, the city, before the city in 1978 was formed, there was a water district, and that water district wanted to stay small, and the city was there to protect us from being taken over by another city, and so we were good with that. But now our city is, and it stayed kind of level like that, kind of people moving in, people moving out, and the population stayed pretty steady. But now we're starting to take off, and now it is very important that we all get together and truly work together. I think the comprehensive plan is the first part, but there are projects that we need to do together. There are times when the water district or the drainage district needs help with some of our equipment, and we need to share that sort of stuff. School district, same thing. I remember the very first meeting that the very first year I was on council, there was some conflict with the school in a parking lot. We should work together, and that's what we got to do. And that's where I think and you're correct, the leadership is what it's going to take.
One of the things that comes along, that getting those partnership, Junior mentioned about the economic development and having that buy-in, the master plan that's there. Part of that is, you heard this in the council forum beforehand. Bill, I'll start with you on this one, is that you want to have a certain type of businesses in town, but there's only so much you can do as a council to make sure that those got here. If you're elected mayor, one of those positions, you have the bully pulpit to do that, but what specifically would you do if elected mayor to make sure the right type of businesses come in here? And how do you encourage that or discourage the wrong type of businesses, as you define it, to come into town?
So first of all, let me say that one of the reasons why I think that we're having a difficult time drawing businesses is because when we send out a document that says to pick any restaurant, any business you want, that we have 14,000 people, people go, that's not enough people for me to even bring a business in. In reality, we have 35,000 people because we have the surrounding county areas that really come through our city. So we need to use that. We need to use that to our benefit. And so but back to the right business, it's difficult because I don't think the city council or any federal government should pick winners and losers. So, and here's the thing, I know a lot of people gripe about the Dollar Generals. That company is a huge company who spends tons of money to do studies of where they need to put their place. And so they know if this place, if their store is going to be successful. But I shouldn't be the one, the council shouldn't be one, in my opinion, to say, hey, you're going to win, you're going to lose, I'm going to let you in, but I'm not going to let you in. That's a difficult deal to do. Now, let's talk about growth. If you look at I-45 and 646, for years, that place was stagnant, not a lot of growth. All of a sudden, HEB comes in, and then it takes off. I believe that's what's going to happen to Santa Fe. We're going to get the right business. I don't know what that right business is, but we're going to get the right business. And when that right business comes, it's going to bring another, and it's going to bring another, and it's going to bring another. And that's the way it works. It's growth.
And I think in many ways that HEB popped in because the Bay Colony was building right behind it here. Junior, same question to you there is that, you know, there is that ongoing debate, and this happens in every community, of managing growth and having the right type of businesses come in and the wrong type of businesses stay out. How would you manage that as best as you can if elected mayor?
For me, I think, again, it's about having the right leadership. And you have to have leadership that has a plan. One of the things that our EDC board brings up is that we can't move forward unless we have a plan and a vision. And the individuals that are on that EDC, I recruited 13 individuals from our committee for the committee, and we ended up selecting the individuals that are on there now. We have 2 bankers on there. We have 2 small business owners on there. We have a well-rounded group of individuals. We even have somebody from the medical field. These are talented individuals that are helping guide right now how we're going to do things. Now, if you don't have a plan, and we all understand that, even if you have a wedding, you have a plan. Even for us, people that have a quinceañera, you have a plan. I mean, churches, they have a plan. You have to have a plan. And so, the last master plan that we had was in 2001. So over 20 years ago, since then, no one has made the time to find and develop a master plan. When I came in 2019, that was my commitment, and my commitment was, how do we create a comprehensive master plan, one, and fund it? And now, council, we work together, and now we funded $225,000 for us to invest in Kimberly Horn, a highly respected engineering firm that's going to develop that comprehensive master plan with our city and our citizens. That's one. 2, our EDC right now is going to have a meeting tomorrow, and we've been working on this for 2.5 years. Now we're going to roll out something called a BRE program. The BRE is a business retention and expansion. Now, earlier you asked the question, what is the right businesses for our city? For me, as a councilman and EDC president, I believe we need to bring in businesses that accommodate our local businesses and not compete against them. Because our local businesses are the heart of our city right now. They're the ones who are supporting our youth sports. They're the ones who are giving money to our 15 churches. They're the ones that are making the difference right now in our community. Our sales tax dollars have grown since 2015, about $560,000 to now $875,000, a growth of almost $300,000 in that time period. Now we're able to leverage that sales tax dollars to do the right thing. We as council ended up using EDC dollars to buy an excavator. Now drainage is happening. Now we're helping our street department. That was not possible until leadership came in. I took the reins of the EDC, recruited new people to be on that committee, high energy, highly educated, highly driven individuals. And now today, we're seeing the fruits of that leadership. And so for me, again, it's about making sure we're making the smart decisions, about having an actual plan. And the BRE is going to help us do that in partnership with our chamber.
When do you think, and for both of you, when would you like to see that master plan roll out in some form, at least having the town halls where you get the buy-in from folks along the way there?
I think we've agreed on this as council. We've slowed it down. It's already budgeted. The money is there. We already allocated it. It's already been approved by both the EDC and council. And we said that we need to hire our city manager and potentially that other position, because again, like Councilman Pittman said, is that city manager is going to be taking a big brunt of that weight.
Still with that, what would the timeline like to be? So you pretty much are on the clock about less than 6 months before your finance director says, I'm no longer going to do interim anymore. So we're talking about 6 months. When would you like to see that?
Probably the end of the third quarter.
Gotcha. The same for you, Bill?
So it does revolve around, because we really want the city manager to be the leader of that, because that's what his job is, and to be able to call the town halls. So, I mean, if we, I will say that our acting manager, our city manager, Cepeda, says that he thinks that we can get a city manager in here in the next 3 months. So if that's the case, give him some time, get it in there. So I would say, August, September, somewhere in that area.
Gotcha. Taxes, you heard that discussed in our last forum there. I'll start with you on this one, Fidencio. Obviously, the only control that the city council has is the tax rate there. Are you your approach on that? Should the tax rate be adjusted even further down, not just to say, hey, we didn't raise the rate or we lower the rate, but also really accommodate so there's not that much more extra revenue coming in? Or do you take that approach of, hey, I got to look at what we really need to have for the city? Because you pointed out, there's a lot you're trying to do, not only on the economic development side of things, but the city needs to partner with that. What is your approach on that on the tax rate?
When I came in 2019, one of the things that I did is I drafted where do we stand on our taxes, right? And I created a small form, and I worked with the city secretary. I also worked with Stacy Baker, and we designed this one-pager for us to be able to let the citizens know where do we stand. And we were ranked number 9, where's our money going? So about 45% of our budget is going to the police department. 20% of the budget is going to now the administration. So that's employees and things like that. And then from there, you have about 12% going to other fees and costs, right? So knowing that, we have to be able to do better at educating the public of where we stand. And then being able to say, hey, look, this is where your different tax rates are. But one of the pieces, again, is that we have to be smarter. We have to be creative. Again, our EDC was restricted to only infrastructure, and when it was established back in 2000. 20 years later, again, I knew that we had to be creative with our budget, creative with our funding. We ended up taking it to the citizens, and the citizens voted at 60% to unrestricted and expand our capabilities. Now, because we're able to expand our capabilities, when council is sitting up there, now they're able to say, well, is it a potential opportunity for us to partner with the EDC and try to use those dollars before we go into our piggy bank? And we've done that. Now we're able to be more creative. In the past, we were not able to do that. And that takes leadership, it takes a vision, and it takes a plan. And so now, again, now we're having a comprehensive plan. Now we're able to start looking at how can we support our street department? How can we look at these different pieces and leverage those dollars? I think as we start, again, that growth of more people buying local, as we increase our EDC dollars, we can be more creative on supporting and keeping our taxes low.
So, and again, in the specific question I had there was on that tax rate.
Yeah.
You know, are you one of those that say, all right, no real new revenue growth from the rate adjusting down outside of a certain percentage?
Yeah, and again, in 2019 and 2020, the whole piece is we needed to get citizens in and have that debate with them and tell them, look, this is where the increase was, and now we're restricted to only be able to raise it by 5.4%, the max now. Right? In 2019, we had a discussion and we left it at 7.4 to have the discussion. Then citizens came in and told us, man, we've been hit by Hurricane Harvey. We've been hit by this. Now we're being hit by, of course, the major property values skyrocketing. We as council sat there and we discussed and we said, hey, at this time, we cannot raise taxes on our people. And we did not do it. So I think we have to take it year by year, but we also have to have leadership that can take it and be creative on how to keep those taxes low.
Same question to you, Bill, on your approach to how the tax rate needs to be managed by the council, and as you as mayor, particularly what you would advocate for.
So for the last 6 years, I've been opponent of keeping the tax down, and so when the rate, when the values go up, we've lowered the rate. In the last 3 years, I've voted no for no new tax, except for last year. Last year, I voted for 1.5, and let me explain why I did that. The state of Texas changed the way that our taxes were paid to us, and they withheld. So anything new in the year of 2021, any home that was built in 2021, that value was not applied to the state or to the city, unless we raised the our taxes a small amount. We were able to recuperate that, and that's why we did that part. So I think Fidencio is correct. We do need to look at it every year. As we grow, hopefully our sales tax will help us to keep it down. I think all of us really want to keep the taxes down as low as we can. He and I had a discussion when he brought up that we're number 9. The problem is we probably are number 9 in the county as far as city taxes. But when you add all this fire, the water, the drainage, we are right under Friendswood. And Friendswood has a whole lot more services than we do. So, the citizens really, we have to be careful of what we ask them to pay. So I think we need to be careful on that part.
Yeah, and that goes into something though too. I know both of y'all are sensitive to this, but it goes into is that the entities will look at what they're doing, but they forget sometimes, or maybe deliberately forget that there's other taxes that are entities out there are charging taxes too, and that bill still, it comes down to the bill when it shows up in November. It's like, oh wow, I got to pay this. That goes along the line. In talking about economic development, we heard something that was said about and you were talking about the BRE, Junior, but that Highway 6 corridor, also the 1764 to 646 corridor, but mainly the Highway 6 corridor, which is kind of considered I guess you would call it the heart of Santa Fe as you go through there. There is, I guess the topic that was used, I think it was Jared that brought this up, there's a hodgepodge of looks down there. Should there be more of a concerted effort, and I'll start with you on Bill on this and then to you, Fidencio, but should there be more of a concentrated effort to kind of get more of a cohesive look down that way, just for the impressions of, hey, you're in Santa Fe? Because a lot of people who go down that Highway 6 are on their way somewhere else sometimes.
As you said, it is difficult in the state of Texas now because of what they did to their infrastructure. We used to say that you had to have 50% masonry facade on your building. Well, when the state of Texas came down and said you couldn't do that. We used to say League City was really bad about you couldn't knock down trees. Well, the state says you couldn't do that. So I think Santa Fe is unique in the way that it looks. I don't think that we have to look all the same. I don't think that's an issue. I really like that we're different. And it's difficult for you to go to a chain and say you need to conform to us, and they say, well, we're not going to conform to you, so they don't come. So I wouldn't limit us in any way. We need businesses to come, and in any way of limiting. Now, I'm not saying that we should have run-down buildings. I think everybody should do that. And as far as the BRE, which is business retention, to use funds. I think that we should allow businesses to use some of the funds from the EDC, as long as they can prove that they're increasing something, employees, revenue, something. Just to go and paint a building, I don't think that that's a good way to use the tax, our citizens' sales tax. We're asking all the citizens to buy local, and for that money to come into the EDC and then for us to go and paint a building just because we want it to look nice, I don't think that's a good use of the money. So I think if we're going to use the BRE, it needs to be in a way to where the city, the citizens get more income from sales tax.
So more of a, instead of aesthetics, more of a, hey, you're going to add square footage, you're going to add product line, you're going to add employees, right?
Or something.
Same question for you there, Fidencio.
So the BRE is already working on that, and the EDC is already working on this. And again, our EDC has been working on this for almost 2.5 years. And we've gone to conferences. One of the things, a report was recently done by our finance director to kind of looking at the money that's coming in from the EDC and how many meetings and then where are we spending our money. So in 2015, the EDC previously had 6 meetings. The next year they had 5 meetings. Then the following year, 4 meetings, then 5, and then 6. And then when we took over in 2019 and 2020, we had 21 meetings. Out of those 21 meetings, we attended 4 conferences, 4 economic development conferences. Those conferences allow us to bring back best practices. And best practices is what we need to bring back. We need to look at other cities that are about our size or maybe just a tad bit bigger, look at what are their best practices and what is working for them, and then bring them here. Regarding providing incentives to our local businesses, the EDC conference made this very clear to us. A successful BRE, business retention, the first piece, is about helping the local businesses grow by 3%. If you can help your local businesses grow by 3%, you're going to help increase your sales taxes coming in, and that business is going to stay around. Now, on the other side of that business retention is a good example is Allstate on Highway 6. Did you see the nice mural that they put on the side of their wall? That nice mural that they built, that they put on the side of the wall at Allstate, there's research that shows that when you beautify the frontage of a business, more people are going to walk through the door. Now, everybody knows that my in-laws and my campaign treasurer is Mr. Tebaldo, and Mr. Tebaldo owns Tebaldo's Feed and Supply, him and my mother-in-law, Elizabeth. One of the things that they've recently done, and they've seen traffic increase as well, is because they've made time to paint the building, put up new signs. They just put up a new sign just yesterday. That traffic has increased. They've increased traffic. So as we continue to see local businesses and we provide them an incentive to improve the face of their business, they're going to see more traffic. It's statistically proven, and there's data to back it up. So we gotta just work with them. We gotta work with our local businesses.
A quick yes or no question here, and if you want to explain it, you can, and then we're going to wrap up here because the chamber wanted us out of here by 8:30 so that Mr. Tebaldo could get back and make sure that everyone gets their feed in the morning, right, Mr. Tebaldo? But I had to get. He's been mentioned like 3 or 4 times here tonight. I should point out it's the only first guy I've ever known that sold monkey chow anywhere. I remember doing the story of that. I never knew that existed until him. I diverge. You heard I had Kevin Bott, Dr. Bott, on with me earlier tonight. Let me just ask, are you for or against the Santa Fe ISD bond referendum?
I think as it's presented to us, using debt service, which is what they're doing, restructuring, I think it's a great idea. It's good for the city. It's good for the school.
How about you, Fidencio?
I'm definitely in support of it. There's a meeting that I recently attended, and I had just gotten off a call with Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, and we recently now that they're representing us, right? And so Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership had this great phone call that I was on, and one of the individuals had just came back from the Aerospace Symposium, one of the biggest, And one of the things that he said is that right now there's a major demand for the fields that they're actually creating in that CTE program. There is a major demand, and we have to be able to provide that demand. And I think our school district is looking to the future of that workforce. And so I'm definitely in support of it.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you both for doing this tonight. We do appreciate it, and we thank the chamber again. We'll give you up to 2 minutes to make your final pitch to the voters. Fidencio, we'll start with you, and then Bill will let you wrap up.
Thank you again. I want to thank my wife for being here tonight, and she's my rock and my supporter. Without her, I wouldn't be here. And also my brothers and my in-laws and everybody that's supporting us. For me, you will go to the polls, and you will go most likely to City Hall. And at City Hall, you will have to ask yourself a question. Will the next mayor that you elect be ready to develop a plan, and will you be part of that plan? I've shown you through the results that we've been able to provide through the EDC, working with the chamber, working with our different entities, that we do have a plan, that I have a plan and a vision for our community. And it is clear that our citizens have supported me in 2019 when they elected me with over 60% of the vote. Then in 2020, we voted to expand the EDC's capabilities, and now that passed with over 60% of the vote. So you see directly my leadership that I bring to the table. And the reason I bring that leadership is because as a veteran, we bring discipline and we bring standard operating procedures. We have to have policies in place that are going to keep our city accountable, our administration accountable, and also our council members and our boards accountable. I would like to also tell those that did not vote for me in 2019 that I will still work with you. Those that didn't support the EDC, I will still work with you as mayor. And for those who will not vote for me this time, it's okay. As the next mayor of Santa Fe, I will still work with you. And the reason why is I'm doing this is because it's not because I have my own agenda. It's not because I'm trying to create division. It's not because I'm trying to divide our community. I want to bring our community together as someone that's a man of faith, someone that's passionate about our community, and someone that wants to make sure that our city is growing smartly with citizen input and making sure we have a plan in place. Thank you.
And to you, Mayor Pro Tem Pittman, up to 2 minutes, sir.
So I have a business here. I have property, commercial property. I am a builder, and some people say that's a bad thing. I do develop small subdivisions. Some people say that's a bad thing. But the city of Santa Fe is a subdivision of the state of Texas. And it looks to me that you would want someone who understands subdivisions. What is a subdivision? It's roads, drainage, water and sewer, streets, people. And so that's the experience I come with. I also come with the experience of bringing people together, and that we are at a point in the city. We all talked about growth tonight, but the growth is not here. And everybody says we want to stop the growth. Friendswood's built out. Clear Lake's built out. League City is getting there. And so it's just coming here. So we have to, in this next couple of years, I think we need to prepare Santa Fe for the future growth that is going to come. And to do that, we're going to need everyone. We're going to need all the citizens, all the businesses, and all the different entities pulled together and to work together as a team. And that's what I think that I can do.
Thank you both for being a part of this here tonight, and thank you also to tossing your hats in the ring for that at a challenging time too for the city as well. Give them a hand if you would, folks, here tonight. Reminder, early voting starts on Monday, the 25th, runs through May 3rd, and then Election Day is May 7th. And then, of course, the night of May 7th, you can watch as our election coverage, and we hope to be talking to both of you that night as well. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you again. Gina, did you have anything from the chamber to say? Okay, we'll let her wrap up.